What is going on? Oh, rat farts. This is some way to start an episode, right? Where I'm saying rat farts and cursing and being like, why the where is my little overlay? Where is my text on screen? I don't get it. I don't get it. There we go. I don't like this. This is all one tool, and now I can't show. Hold on one second, guys. It's not what I wanted to show. Excuse me while I add. Why can't I add an item? Why can't I add an item? Okay. Thank you. Show. Let's go. Let's go. I got a show to do. All right. So that is so not what I wanted to put up there. Thank you. Let's move that up there. Guys, it has been a week, and now that was just an illustration of how weird this week has been. Hold on. Let me see if I can make sure I get my weird ring light to not hit my glasses in a strange and bizarre way. Maybe down here? No, that makes me look like a crazy person. All right, that's enough. I can't do this. It's going to be a little dark, but you guys can probably hear me and see me. Very professional start to another one of these episodes, right? So I love Be Live, which is my third-party app for streaming and making me look like a professional and putting these little widgets up there. But they decided to consolidate my little agenda cards and take away my regular crawler introducing myself. So that's what I had to deal with starting up the episode. So my apologies, folks. Yeah, I know. Zuri's waving and Katie's saying, curse the IT, LOL. I will show that and show that. Guys. So the two people that joined me over on my Instagram live, just to remind you about my weekly live show, are the two people that showed up here right now. And I mentioned to them over on IG, but I guess I'm going to have to mention it here too, that we are in the shadow period of Mercury in retrograde that is happening on January 30th. And I was just having a conversation with my husband about this. Just like, gosh, whether it was either this morning or this afternoon around lunchtime. And he was asking me, is Mercury in retrograde? And I kind of laughed because he's usually like not a big believer in it. I mean, he knows and he's seen stuff, especially being married to a witch and a tarot reader. Like he's seen stuff. But he's not normally one to, I guess, put a lot of stock into it unless it's like happened to him. But he asked me today, like, is Mercury in retrograde? Because the communication issues have been like bonkers bananas. And I said, no, Mercury is not in retrograde yet. is going retrograde at the end of the month. And so he's just like, okay, so we're in the shadow period. And I'm just like, yes, honey, we are. So as you all know, if you've been watching this show for the last year and a half, you know that I'm not an astrologer. I am a tarot reader, but I know enough astrology to be dangerous. And I also know enough astrology to kind of guide you guys or let you know like things are funky or when they're going to be funky and how they're going to be funky. So yeah, I think that's just what's been going on lately. I don't even know. Yeah. Oh, Lisa's here. Hello, Lisa. Gotta love 2021. Yeah, it's it's a secular year turning over from 2020 to 2021. Some issues are still going to be there. And Katie says Mercury in Gatorade. Yes, Mercury will be in Gatorade. As my friend Brendo likes to say to me whenever I reference Mercury in retrograde. When your gal pals or your girlfriend says Mercury's in Gatorade, just believe them. Believe that shit. So, yeah. Anyway. Introduction, sorry about that. Hello, if you are not a regular viewer to the weekly episodes, hello and welcome. My name is Hilary. I am a professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition, because yes, my friend, do not argue with me. You have intuition. I believe everybody has intuition. Tarot just happens to be the tool that I access to get in touch with my intuition and also have my clients get in touch with their intuition. I really believe that a tarot reading is my intuition speaking to your intuition, and the language between the two is the tarot cards. So if you would like to book a reading with me, you can by going to my website below, tarotbyhilary.com. Remember, that's Hilary with one L. So this week's episode, and I see we have a new person here, Mercedes. Hi, I'm new here from Washington. Welcome, Mercedes. Welcome to the broadcast. So this week's episode, we do have, let me quickly get into our agenda. I'm really loving that I've been doing a kind of editorial calendar. And by the way, if you see behind me, I've got my little poster board, and I have really stoked about this. I have my passion planner that I got from passionplanner.com. There's been a ton of new stuff that they've come out with, one of which is a desk/wall calendar. So I ended up purchasing that along with my planner, my passion planner, and my husband's passion planner. So like we are organized and we're going to fill in those planners. And let me just show you. This is my passion planner in the rose gold, and I believe $1 of every purchase of the rose gold planner goes to the Malala Foundation. So that's pretty awesome. Anyway, editorial calendars have really been saving my life and my business lately because I don't have to guess at what I'm going to be teaching every week in this free episode series or topic series that I've been doing for about a year and a half now. Since around September, October, I have been looking at the dates on the calendar. Every Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will do an episode. And so I will look at the Friday dates and I will brainstorm ahead of time, ahead of the month, which topics I'm going to teach on which day so that you can look at the schedule and tune in live for the topics that interest you, or you can watch the replays, which are available on my Facebook page and also my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to find those archived either place, wherever you want to tune in from. It's up to you. So Friday the 1st, we had no show because it was New Year's Day. Friday the 8th, we had the intro to the month's episodes, plus the astro weather from Teresa Reed and the weekend forecast from me. Friday the 15th, we did the tarot reading for the collective for the year 2021, month by month. If you are interested in predictive readings or how tarot can predict certain things or give a tarot card of advice for each month, definitely want to tune into that episode or watch that episode. It's available right now, but don't go there. Don't leave. You can watch it after we're done with this episode. So we're at Friday, January 22nd. whole day. We're talking about tarot birth cards and year cards, how to calculate them, what they're about, what they're used for, how to calculate them. And we are revisiting this topic because I believe I did this episode at the beginning of 2020, but I realized that I gave you wrong information in that episode. And I'm sorry about that. So the year card that I had calculated for myself as an example was that I got the Chariot card for the year 2020. And it turns out I calculated wrong and I actually had the Tower card for the year 2020, which makes perfect sense in hindsight. Because of course, hindsight's 2020, little optometrist joke, but also fortune teller joke there. So I figured we would revisit this episode with correct information. And also, I recorded an episode of the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast with Melissa Sanova and Jamie Elford, which should be coming up. And I think about 2 months' time. We're in the schedule of episodes that we have already recorded. But I just was thinking in my head, like, I know that episode's going to come out in a couple of months, but I can't wait to get you this information. So I'm just going to be teaching it again tonight. So if that sounds good to y'all, let me know. If you guys were here for that episode about year cards, please let me know in the chats and tell me what your year card was. Maybe I calculated your year card correctly. Maybe I didn't. And let me know if your year card actually synced up for what happened to you in 2020. The reason I am teaching both birth cards and year cards tonight, let me go ahead and hide this, is because birth cards are interesting because it kind of gives you more than your horoscope, or it gives like kind of a tarot skewed perspective on your personality based on your birth date. Much like your natal chart or your birth chart will give you a sense of your personality and your traits, because that is based on your birth date, birth time, and birth location. The reason why you need all of that information is because it is a snapshot of the heavens the moment you were born. So you need the location so you know exactly what the constellations and the signs and the planets look like at that moment of your birth. And that tells you personality traits, and it also can possibly sync up with transits to give you like your horoscope. This is how your horoscope is calculated by, it's like, I guess it's a synastry reading. If and if you're an astrologer and I'm saying the wrong thing, please just chime in. Chime in and say, like, Hilary, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. This is how it is. I'm happy to say that I'm wrong. But my understanding of horoscopes are it takes your birth chart and it takes your and it takes the snapshot of the skies at that moment that you're reading your horoscope, like, or whatever the date that horoscope is written or published, and it gives you, like, because you're this, here's how the planets are affecting you currently. Now remember, our horoscope is usually based on our sun sign, but we are way, way, way more than our sun signs. So keep that in mind. If like some of these tarot birth cards and year cards don't make sense to you, like, take some of this with a grain of salt. Like, it can't be all things to all people all the time, you know? If you want a really more specific snapshot, you want to get your birth chart done. And there are free services in which you can do that. Astro.com is one thing off the top of my mind, cafeastrology.com. As long as you have your birth date, birth time, and location of your birth. Those three things, you can usually get a free natal report or birth chart done. And I believe in those two places, astro.com and cafeastrology.com, they will also explain, well, what does this mean? Because, you know, a birth chart when you look at a birth chart, it can be a little bit overwhelming, and it's just like, I'm never going to be able to read this. Most of the time, if you go and get your birth chart done, they will provide you some context as to why does this matter? What does this mean? Like, I have my moon in Gemini in the 3rd house. What does that mean? So they'll usually translate it for you. So, oh, Dylan's here. Hi, hello. Hopefully this isn't much different than what I've already said before to Dylan multiple times about birth charts, birth cards, and year cards. So the reason why birth cards are interesting is because birth cards, it tells you about your personality. It tells you about maybe careers that you might be naturally good at. But year cards are fascinating to me because you can calculate your year card, especially for a year. Like, you can do this for past, you can do this for present, you can do this for future as well. So I feel like year cards is something to really, is a great thing to have in your tool belt or your back pocket, because you can like calculate your year card from a particularly difficult year and find out what your year card it was for that particular year, to maybe give yourself context as to why those events were happening or how they unfolded, and to kind of like look at the past, not necessarily with rose-colored glasses, but kind of give a context for the past. Same thing for the present. That's the reason why I did year cards at the beginning of 2020, because I think it's a really good tool for planning things, especially like putting, like, this was one of my suggestions, was to calculate your year card and then put it prominently, like in your planner, whatever your planner is, and come back to it to see how it unfolds and maybe how you can be better guided by that tarot energy for that year. So there's that. So you can do that for the present. And then it's a little bit future tripping as well, where if you want to know, well, I want to know how 2021 is going to shake out for me, or even I'm getting married in 2022, or I'm planning on selling my house in 2023, or whatever. You may want to calculate your year card for the year 2023 to see what tarot card are you going to be having for that particular year card, to see how that can guide you in the sale of your house, or having a baby, or making a move, or relocating to a different country. So you can see how tarot birth cards and tarot year cards can be a really great planning tool and a really great way to provide greater context or greater information to the events of your life. So if that sounds good to everyone, like, stay tuned. What we normally do, so that's hold on. Let me run through what is going on here? I can't even hit next item anymore. Sorry, I'm dealing with some tech issues where they changed up. They rolled out some new features for Be Live, and I didn't really get accustomed to them before I started presenting, because it wasn't ready before then. So Dylan says, I tend to check in with that every so often just to see what's going on, where I've been, and how my outlook is moving to learn or work on what I must do. Exactly. Basically everything you are saying. By the way, Dylan is my best friend forever. So I know who Dylan is. She's not a rando stranger. She is a wonderful tarot reader, massage therapist, and medium. So she's wonderful at like everything she does. So if she chimes in, pay attention to her comments, because she knows what she's talking about too. Katie says, can't find what I wrote for the year card, but I recall thinking things would start moving from the previous year had been the Hanged Man, which means Death card was for the year 2020. Wow. Yeah, I think, like, if memory serves, I think that was the case for you. That's just from memory, so I can't be sure. Yeah, I would, let's see. I mean, like, I can pull up from YouTube that episode, and we can see what people got, All right, let's actually, now I'm like really freaking curious about that. Sorry, guys. Let me take a look here. So, oh no, what's going on here? Oh, good. Okay. All right, let me make sure I'm muted over there. So I'm streaming on YouTube, and I want to make sure that everything is copacetic there. So looks like it is. Yay. All right. That's working. That's working. So let's search. Let me search my channel. Why can't I search? Hello. I'll have to just search in my playlists. Yes, let us view my full playlist. Guys, we are on, I think this is episode 50, if I'm remembering correctly. Or we're a little bit below 50 because I included my Ask a Tarot Reader videos into my workshop series, but we're approaching the 50th episode, which is crazy to me. Let's see. Goal setting with the tarot. Yeah, I think it was called goal setting with the tarot. So I'm going to go ahead, pause that. I just need the link. I just need the link to it. Yeah, Katie's saying, I'm happy to just move on because my memory could be being rubbish. Well, I'm kind of curious to see what other cards came up. And if I did calculate it correctly, then you would just go one card up in the major arcana to indicate this year's card. Because it's kind of cyclical. There's a pattern to it. Let's just say that. All right. Yeah. So if you're looking for the episode, this is the thumbnail. This is what it looks like. Goal setting and your tarot year card for 2020. Obviously, you can see me and my blonde, hair and my dark roots. Like pandemic Hilary had to have purple hair because I wasn't going to the salon. Let's see here. Come to another card, not your year card. So in this, there's view and treat you. So the magician, let's just not. I agree with you, Katie. Let's just not. But if you want to go back and take a look at that, if you happen to be tuning in for that episode, then by all means go back, see what the tarot card was, because don't worry, we will cover it in this episode. I promise. All right. So that is what we're talking about tonight. So welcome. I already told you what this episode is about. We're talking about tarot year cards and tarot birth cards. We're probably going to start, when we do start the topic here, we're going to start with tarot birth cards because it's not too much of a jump from calculating your tarot birth card to calculating your tarot year card. The only thing that's really changing out of the two is the year that you use. You'll see in a few minutes when we talk about that. But first, we always start out the episode with the astrology from Teresa Reed from her wonderful AstroBiz Digest. I would not be surprised if the astrology is a little bit wackadoo from today and for this weekend, because like I was saying before, it's been a little crazy. It's been a little crazy. Oh, no, really? Athena heard your voice and just came up to me wondering where her mama Hilary is. Oh, Athena beans. Athena, by the way, is a very beautiful calico kitty. That's Dylan's kitty. So that's very sweet. And guys, you don't understand how much that means to me because it took Athena 6 years to warm up to me. Not even, like, maybe longer than that. So like it makes me like really happy. So anyway, the astro weather is from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady. She is a tarot reader, but she's also a wonderful astrologer. The AstroBiz Digest is a subscription service. It's $99 for the year, and you're getting astrology every week and every day of the week. It is geared towards entrepreneurs, but I find it to be very helpful in my personal life as well. So let us go to that. Actually, I'm going to pull this up on my iPad here. And what I like to do is I usually like to consult this and give you this from the AstroBiz Digest for today, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm not going to give you the whole of it because then that's me ripping off Teresa's work, which I'm not going to do. I would rather give her the props and send you all to her if this is stuff that you're interested in so you can get the AstroBiz Digest for yourself. And like I said, it's $99 for the year. That breaks down to like one fancy cup of coffee like a week. That's a ridiculous deal. You know, I think it really, really helps. All right. Don't forget, in these pauses, in these moments of pause, please go ahead, get some water, hydrate yourself. Hydrating yourself is very important when we talk about metaphysical topics. Even if it's me teaching it, you're still learning. And I don't know, hydration is like the lube for metaphysical topics. It really helps. Yep. Props to Teresa Reed. I love Teresa's AstroBiz. I've used it for 2 years so far. I think I've been using it for, I think as long as she's been doing it, which I think might be 3, if not 4 years. I can't remember, but like I'm auto subscribed to it. Like it just auto renews. And I'm just like, that's fine with me. Please take my money. Auto renew is totally cool because I need it. Need it. All right, we are in the week of January 18th to the 24th, 2021, which is bizarre. The future is now. Are we ready? Just give me a little ready in the chat. Let me know. Yes, I know. I hooked you. Sorry about that. I think I gave you a gift subscription for the first year, and then you renewed it yourself. Yeah. Getting you hooked, you hooked to the astrology. That's how I do. That's my jam. Okay, so, all right. It looks like we're in a void of chorus moon starting at 4:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I think we're still in that right now, which makes total sense to me. Honestly, how my day went. Whoo. So Katie's saying ready, yes, please. I see that someone's commenting about if I speak French, and I don't. I'm sorry. Google Translate is your friend. Okay, so early morning aspects are friendly if you want to wake up at the crack of dawn for marketing duties. Better yet, automated newsletter or a few tweets to take advantage of this good money mojo. Now, remember, this is written towards entrepreneurs, but just tweak the language a little bit in your head, and it still works for your personal stuff too. At 8:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon will be square Mercury, which could put a cramp in communication. Oh, hell yes. I hope my husband's listening.
I'm listening to Rangers hockey.
Well, don't listen to Rangers hockey right now. I know I'm broadcasting right now, but if you wanted to know why today was so bad with communication,
yes,
just listen up for right now.
Mercury was in Gatorade.
Mercury's not in Gatorade. See? Guys, did you happen to hear that? He just said Mercury is in Gatorade. It's not in Gatorade yet. One of these days, we're going to get him on camera, folks. We are. So, you be listening too. 8:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon will be square Mercury, which could put a cramp in communication. The public is distracted at this time, so sales may fall flat. The late morning and early afternoon are relatively clear and ideal for getting your marketing popping. A smart campaign in the afternoon could bring more dollar bills to your coffers. Shut things down when the moon is void, starting at 4:28 p.m.
Oh, slimy emails.
Huh?
Slimy emails.
That's when you got slammed with emails, right?
Slimy emails.
Oh, slimy emails. Yep. See? Astrology is real, folks. The rest of the day is best for wrangling small tasks or resting. My vote goes with the latter. Power day for Taurus, weekday for Scorpio. So I made my husband listen up because he was not a happy camper this afternoon, and it aligns with when the moon was void of chorus. 4:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Lizzie says hi.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Dave. LOL, too funny. Yeah, I mean, it's real. I don't know if you guys are able to hear him because I'm wearing my noise canceling headphones. So you may be able to hear him, you may not, but he said slimy emails, Mercury is in Gatorade. No, it's not. It will be in Gatorade at the end of the month, though. This was more 8:59 a.m. Moon will square Mercury, which put the cramp in communication, because moon can be about feelings, but it also can be, depending on what sign the moon is in, it can sometimes have an emphasis on communication. Like, for example, my moon is in Gemini, so I'm a pretty good communicator. So moon squaring Mercury this morning, not great. And then moon void of chorus at 4:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, not great either. So, they did hear you.
Probably be hearing me if the Rangers score goals too.
Why are Rangers? Oh yeah, that's right. Rangers are playing at 7, right?
They're playing Pittsburgh, yeah.
They're playing Pittsburgh Penguins.
I got it on the tablet with the headphones in, so don't bother you.
I'm gonna turn around this computer so they can see you.
Fine, then you watch me sit here and get hammered.
He's watching his hockey team, which is the Rangers. Just so everyone knows, I'm a Devils fan, New Jersey Devils fan. So it was kind of tense in our household this week when the Devils were playing the Rangers. But the Devils won, so suck it. Anyway, Saturday and Sunday. No, I'm not going to turn the. It's not that I don't want to show you him. I just don't want to show my messy apartment.
Yeah, I got all the boxes.
We don't want to show our messy apartment. This is like you are not seeing the pile of clean laundry or the pile of books here or the pile of boxes for my orders. No. So Saturday and Sunday. Get your writer's cap on and pen in hand because the moon will be in Gemini all weekend. Yes. Remember what I was just saying? That my natal moon is in Gemini. And this means the moon in Gemini all weekend, happening now or tomorrow, that is going to be aces for me in writing this weekend and communicating this weekend. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yes. marital happiness featured. Yes. Moon and Gemini all weekend. The next 2 days are fantastic for answering emails, writing content, creating classes, or getting to work on a book. Mars will square Jupiter on Saturday at 2:49 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, emboldening the egomaniacs. Uh-oh. A few fanatics want to own the world stage, so once again, you'll want to avoid the internet all weekend long. Oh boy. All right. Well, forewarned is forearmed, guys. This aspect can also lead to narrow-minded thinking, something you'll want to keep in check. If anyone is trying to aggressively proselytize, you can hit the mute button and ignore it. Instead, keep your eyes on your writing. Trust me on that. The moon forms favorable angles to the sun and Saturn at 10:27 a.m. and 11:19 a.m. This is so good for inspired self-expression. Right. Venus sextile Neptune at 2:49 p.m. elevates the creativity tenfold. If you're knee-deep in a project, keep going. The muses are singing at a higher octave for the rest of the day. Hit the road at 7:04 p.m. when the moon trines Jupiter, a lovely aspect for a weekend getaway. It's also rad for marketing, provided you don't mind the online idiots who are still raging. A Sun-Saturn conjunction at 10:01 p.m. is the hot spot for leaders to emerge. If you're in that role, you'll want to listen deeply to people's concerns and be ready to assure them that they're in good hands. This conjunction could also be ideal for important meetings. A late-night dinner with a hotshot could lead to a major deal. Sunday skies are fairly quiet. You can decide to take the day off or continue making progress on writing projects. A lone square between the moon and Neptune at 4:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time puts a flaky vibe into the late afternoon and evening. Everyone's distracted and the news is confusing. Shut your show down and enjoy a quiet night with a stack of inspirational books. Both days are power days for Gemini and weak days for Sagittarius. So that is the astro weather for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Did anyone have any particular days this week where they're just like, I don't understand what happened, or I had a rough Monday, and you want to know, was there something happening astrologically? My husband's raising his hand. Yes, dear.
I did.
Yeah, but which days? Other than today.
All of them. Monday, Tuesday.
Monday, Tuesday, Monday,
His
Tuesday,
birthday,
Thursday.
Jesus' birthday.
No, but isn't that the quote from The Godfather?
Yes.
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not talking to you. I can just hand you this and you can read it for yourself. Oh boy. Anyway. I thought you said late night dinner with a hottie at first. Yeah, sometimes I talk a little too fast. I'm sorry, guys. If you need me to slow down, let me know. I mean, people have said that about me, like that it's like kind of a New York thing to speak quickly, or apparently I have a New York accent. I don't really see it or hear it, but okay. So you can tell me to slow down if you need me to. Me too. So that's great. Sorry. Yes. Teresa, this is coming from Teresa. So it's pretty much verbatim, except the times when I look up and I speak directly to the camera, and then it's me saying it, not her. Yeah, same. Monday, Tuesday. No, I'm not watching Lupin. Is that on Netflix, Suri? I guess like we have so much stuff to watch, guys. It's like ridiculous. And then I actually subscribed to an anime streaming service as well, because I used to be very big into anime when I was in college, and I wanted to get back to it because it had some of the shows that I really liked. So we've got a lot to watch. We're currently watching WandaVision. We haven't seen the 3rd episode yet, but we'll probably do that sometime this evening or tomorrow. Thursday was a bit okay. So no, seriously, guys, which days that which days do you want to get back to? Dylan, I'm sorry. You're already subscribed to the AstroBiz Digest. So like you can look for yourself about Monday and Tuesday. But Thursday was a bit of insert curse words. Okay, Thursday. Well, let's look on Thursday. And then we got to get to the topic. Yeah, it was bonkers. So like, this is something that Teresa has been saying, and a number of astrologers was saying this for Inauguration Day, Wednesday, that there's a lot of stuff astrologically that was going on, and that stuff continued into Thursday. So like Mars conjunct Uranus, Moon squaring Pluto, like just impulsive, aggressive, inflaming emotions, wannabe dictator. Like it was a lot. It was a lot. So Thursday's planets aren't much better than Wednesday's. The moon is conjunct Uranus, 3:37 a.m., followed by another conjunction with Mars at 4:08 a.m., perfect for early morning brainstorming sessions. It can also create a moody, aggressive, stubborn vibe. The online asshats are still at it, so keep your marketing on hold until tomorrow. At 5:15 a.m., the moon will square Jupiter. This is not the time to make a significant investment. Money could be lost if you're not careful. The rest of the day finds the skies clear. Once the afternoon arrives, it will seem like things are beginning to calm down. You'll be able to focus better. My plan, sleep in and leave all important work details until the afternoon clocks in. And Thursday was a power day for Taurus and a weekday for Scorpio. So Katie, if you were feeling those curse words bubbling up on Thursday, it's probably because the astrology of the planets from Wednesday were still lingering into Thursday. Because it's not like, with astrology, it's not just like, okay, this day is this, and now we move into this day, and it's going to be this. So there is like this lingering energy that flows one into the other sometimes with astrology and the planets. It's not dissected in such a way that we can just feel those feelings or those energies, and then when the next day clocks over, we're not feeling that anymore. Like Wednesday's astrology lingered into Thursday. So Lupin, if you love mysteries or Sherlock, you'll like it. It's like the movie Thomas Crown Affair for me. Fair enough. I'm going to have to give that a chance. All right. Okay, so we are done with the AstroBiz. And now what we want to do is we want to get into the actual episode. Actually, I have to plug in my computer because I didn't realize the battery was low. I'm just full of wires over here. Okay. So we are talking about, where is it? First, we're talking about tarot birth cards. Oh, Dina's here. Hello, Dina. Welcome. Welcome to the episode. You're right on time. So you missed the astro weather, but you can catch up later. But you're right in time for tarot birth cards. Pens and papers ready. So what I would love, and this isn't fishing. Okay, this isn't fishing for your information. I would like someone to be a guinea pig for this. So whoever wants their tarot birth card done, as an example, so I can walk everybody else through the process, please feel free, comment in the chat, let me know what, and write it out in full. Don't do the abbreviated form because I'll do the abbreviated form on here. Just like keep it a little bit safer, I guess. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, Lizzie, sorry, Dylan, if you want to volunteer, sure. If Zuri wants to volunteer, Katie, Dina, whoever's watching, who wants to volunteer with their with their birthday and year, we can do the birth cards for them as an example. And yes, you want to have pen and paper handy. Actually, I would recommend more pencil. Pencil and paper if you're not feeling confident with your math. There is a little bit of math involved, but not, trust me, it's not complicated math. It's more addition to subtract. You're adding the numbers to subtract down to a number between 1 and 22, which is the numbers of the major arcana, so that we can get a match for that number with the major arcana card. And that way I can give you the tarot constellation, which is your tarot birth constellation. Wow. So we can use a couple of different examples. So what I'm going to recommend, since Lizzie's already put in her information, sorry, Dylan, since Dylan's already put in her information, we'll use Dylan as an example for the birth card. But for the year card, we'll choose a different person for when we're calculating the year card. Remember, the difference, the only difference is in the year for the year card. For the birth card, you're using the year you were born. For the year card, you're using the year of what you want that card to, what you want your calculation for that year to be. So last year when I was teaching this, we were all trying to calculate what kind of year we were going to have based on the year 2020. So this year for tarot year cards, we're going to be using 2021 as that base number for the year. Dylan has already volunteered with her information. So we're going to use Dylan as the example for the birth card. Now, remember, all of this information is in the wonderful book from Mary K. Greer, Who Are You in the Tarot? Discover Your Birth and Year Cards and Uncover Your Destiny. This was formerly called Tarot Constellations. So if you happen to have a book called Tarot Constellations by Mary K. Greer, this is just an updated version of that book. So you can still use that book too. And actually, this is my signed copy that I picked up at the Omega Institute when I went to the Masters of the Tarot weekend, in which Mary was teaching, Melissa Sonova, my co-host for Cardslingers Coast to Coast podcast, Liz Dean was teaching, George Corey was teaching, Rachel Pollack was teaching. I can't remember who else taught. I feel like I'm missing someone, and I'm sorry if I'm missing you. But I had to pick up another copy of this because I had loaned this out to a client of mine, and she never gave it back to me. So I'm just like, okay, I'm going to call that a gift, and that's fine, and you can keep it, and I'm going to pick up my own copy. No one is allowed to borrow this. It's my signed copy. So let us see here. So I have a lot of notes from the Cardslingers Coast to Coast episode that we did. I'm going to go ahead and take down that because got it here in the chat. And also I know what your birthday is, Dylan. So I have a lot of notes here that we used in teaching this topic, basically on the podcast, which will be coming out in a couple of months, the Cardslingers Coast to Coast podcast. And we used Melissa as an example. And she railed against us, but we're right. So. So here's where I think I messed up some of the calculations for last year. So here's the reason why I wanted to redo this episode. So there's many methods of adding your birth date. There are many different ways to add the numbers in your birth date. All of them result in the same single digit or root number. All of them are valid in their own way. However, since we are looking for 22 possible results for a personality card, then a method of adding dates that maximizes these results will serve us best. That is why I recommend the addition method below. The most important thing is that you always use the same method and that you get to know that method's patterns and intricacies for yourself. So, your personality and your soul cards. So, it's like, this is basically what we're talking about here. Personality and soul card. It's your birth card. It's your birth card. In any tarot reading, I always first determine the querent's personality card and soul card based on their birth date. With only this information, we are able to see what a person most needs to learn in his or her life and what lessons will bring this person to an understanding of this urge. So that's what your birth card is about. Using your birth date lets numerologically calculate your personality, soul, and hidden factor cards. So this is the constellation that we're going to be talking about once we find out what your constellation is. First, to find your personality and soul combination, destiny pattern, add together your month, your day, and your year of birth. And so we're going to use first the example in the book. For example, using Mexican artist Frida Kahlo's birth date, July 6, 1907, you would do the month, July, the 7th month of the year, so 7. The day would be 6, and the year is 1907. So you add that up to 1920, and then you add the digits in the resulting number of 1920. So you would add 1 plus 9 plus 2 plus 0, which equals 12. So the resulting number, if you get a sum between 1 and 22, is your personality number, which in this example is 12 and corresponds to the 12th card of the major arcana, the Hanged Man. Your personality card indicates personality characteristics that you develop easily and lessons that you learn early in your life as they seem to resonate with your essential nature. So everyone got that. And then you would add together the digits of that sum. In this example, for Frida Kahlo, 1 and 2, 12, 1 plus 2 equals 3, to find your soul number. So artist Frida Kahlo's soul number of 3 corresponds to the third major arcana card, the Empress. Your soul card shows your soul purpose, the qualities in yourself that you must express and use in order to feel fulfilled in whatever you do. So she kind of has two cards there, the personality card and the soul card. So she's got the Hanged Man and the Empress. So, and the major arcana of the tarot can tell us a lot about who we are as people because they're archetypes. The major arcana is based on archetypes. So, knowing that, I will use Dylan as my example here. And of course, I grabbed my notebook, but I didn't grab a pen. So I'm just going to have to grab a pen instead of a pencil. So while I'm grabbing a pen, go ahead and grab a piece of paper or a pen. If you're watching the replay, you can go ahead and pause the replay and go grab a scrap of paper and a pen. You can do it. You can do this right into your journal or your planner if you want to, if you're feeling brave. I usually like to do this out on a scrap of paper or a separate notebook, just in case I make a mistake. So we have for Dylan, that's an interesting point, Dina. Frida Kahlo was put in traction like the Hanged Man. Isn't that interesting? So sometimes these cards, like I would not wish that, but sometimes these cards can be very literal. It's interesting. So we have, and you can follow along. We're going to use Dylan's birth date as an example here, but if you want to go ahead and do your own birth date, feel free to do so. So this is how you would write out your birth date, right? Now, hold on one second. Let me look back in my notes because I feel myself. I feel myself doing the wrong thing. Because I was going to do the expanded form, but I think that's where I got myself into trouble the last time. So I'm just going to go exactly along because I started to write it out long ways. I don't think that's right. So I think what I should be doing, according to the notes, well, let me show. According to the notes on page 37, page 37 and page 40, we have the method of addition here, right? Here. And then we have the adding up, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this to the letter. And you can see it right here in chart number 3, your personality and soul chart. So you want to do, and feel free to freeze frame this or pause this if you're watching the replay. Month you were born, the day you were born, the year you were born equals, and then you would add each digit up. So feel free to take a screenshot of that, right? Okay. And if you need a calculator, I'm not going to judge you because I was an English major for this very reason, right? Okay. Dylan, are you sure it's 19? Yes, it's 19. Yep. Okay. So I'm not sure if it really makes a difference between doing the sum out one way versus the other, but I'm just going to try and do it exactly how Mary Kay Greer says to do it in her book, just to make sure that we're not fucking things up, right? So this is what I have here in my own little mathy math, right? So Dylan, you just let me know if that makes sense to you, because I'm getting that too. Okay, so we've got that. So it says here, if you have a double-digit answer, you would add again. And then the personality number would be the higher of the two numbers if 22 or less. And the soul number is the single-digit number in your final reduction. So you've got... we all concur, yes. It takes a little bit of work. So 19 is your PC, your personality card, right? And then 1 plus 9 would be 10, which is still double digits. So you would do 1 plus 0. So it goes down to 1, I think. So that would be your SC, your soul card. So 22, I think, so Katie is saying, yeah, oh shit. Yeah, so Dylan, if this is new information, it's only because the way I taught this the last time to like the coven was wrong. So this is like more information. We're getting freaking deeper here, folks. So Katie is saying, I got a 22 for mine. Which card is that? So the 22nd card of the tarot, that would probably be the World, because it's 22. It's technically the 22nd card. So hold on one second. Let's show. So 19 would be your personality card, and 1 would be your soul card. So right. Oh, perfect. Okay. So this is an example of how there's a calculator. There's actually a calculator on the Tarot School's website, which is a birth card calculator. So some of you are going to get 1 card. Some of you are going to get 2 cards, and a few of you are going to get 3 cards. So Dylan, you happen to be a 3-card person, because in here it says, note if you are a 19, 10, and 1, the wheel is your teacher card. So there can be up to 3 cards that you're working with here. So the teacher card is the hidden factor or teacher card. In addition to the numbers obtained directly through addition and reduction, there's frequently another number and card concept indirectly connected with your birth date, which I call your hidden factor or teacher card. The following constellations chart will help you determine this number. A tarot constellation consists of all the cards with the same root number, the single-digit number, 1 through 9, as well as all the other major arcana whose numbers reduce to that root number. Their energies constellate or come together based on similar principles, that is, on vibrational essences of like quality. So, for example, in the 19-10-1 column, each of those numbers reduces to the root number of 1. Each of the 9 groups or constellations thus formed also includes all of the cards from the minor arcana of the same root number. So that would correspond with the aces of the minor arcana for you, Dylan. So like Frida Kahlo, for example, her personality card is the Hanged Man. Her soul card is the Empress. So 12 and 3. By combining these numbers, we were able to refer to her as a 12-3. Now look at the constellations chart and notice there's only one other major arcana number listed in her constellation, namely 21. Since she did not get a 21 in the calculations, it's a hidden aspect of her birth vibrational essence. This then is her hidden factor card, the world. It is the number that did not appear when we did the calculations, but which is also in her constellation. All the threes of the minor arcana also belong to her constellation. For example, there's a one hidden factor, which is 20 and 21. For example, Barack Obama is Judgment and High Priestess, a 22, a 20 and a 2. His hidden factor card is Justice, the 11, since it's the only number in his constellation not directly appearing in the birth date reduction. The 2s of the major arcana also belong to his constellation. So if you're one hidden factor, single 5s through 9s, Mick Jagger is the Hierophant as both his personality and soul card. So Temperance is a hidden factor card. The 5s and the minor arcana are part of his constellation. Now for me, I know that I believe I'm a single 4, if I'm remembering correctly, which means I'm a Death Emperor. So, but it's mostly Emperor. And if you're familiar with a lot of Aries, they're probably going to be Death Emperor as well. Because remember, we're all talking about our birth dates. So it does have some correlation to astrology. No hidden factor are called the nighttime cards. And they're in constellations 5 through 9, involving the personality and soul patterns 14-5 through 18-9. I call these the nighttime cards. There's also the no hidden factor besides the wheel, because of the Wheel of Fortune. 10 was involved in the computation. It is not hidden. It did not manifest the shadow quality normally associated with the hidden factor card. So that's the reason why you have 3 cards. And this card is not a hidden factor for you, Dylan, because it came up in the calculations. You came up. It's literally 19, 10, and 1. So, and you can see that right there before we did the addition to reduce. And hopefully everyone's not timey-wimey for right now. So Katie, I'm gonna look for 22 for you in a second. But yeah, it can be very cool. There's hidden factors and 2 hidden factor cards. Actually, I'm not. I don't think I'm a single. I don't think I'm a single 4. Hold on a second. People who are single 1, 2, 3, or 4, that is having personality and soul patterns of 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, or 4, 4, have 2 hidden factor cards as shown by the chart. So I think actually this might answer your question, Katie. But I'll take a look. Personality soul patterns 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4 have 2 hidden factor cards as shown by the chart. For instance, a single 4, 4, 4 has the Fool 22 and Death 13 as a hidden factor card, because remember the Fool card is numbered 0. So you might be a fool, possibly. Fool 22 and Death 13 as hidden factor cards. These patterns are pretty rare, occurring mostly around the turn of the 2nd millennium. In fact, there are no single 1s since 998 CE. So, let's see here. I believe the Wheel of Fortune might be your teacher card, but I don't think it's a hidden factor because it's not hidden. It's actually there in your calculation. It says here, note if you are 19, 10, 1, the wheel is your teacher card. Your soul number would be 1. So that, I believe, 1 would correspond with the Magician. Yes. Yeah. So your cards, Dylan, your cards would be The Sun, the Magician, and the Wheel of Fortune. All right, so yeah, hold on 1 second here. So yes, for 19, there's one case in which more than 2 cards can appear. If your first number is 19, you will have 3 cards. Dylan, you and Martin Luther King Jr. are both Sun, Magician, and Wheel. It is only when your birth date totals 19 that you will have such a triple sequence. For your use here, you can consider the Sun, 19, as your personality card, the Magician, 1, as your soul card, and the Wheel of Fortune, 10, as your teacher card. People with this sequence must learn to communicate their individual creative expression. Their personal identity and sense of self will be inextricably combined with their life and soul purpose. Their ability to relate to others will depend on a harmony of vision and a sense of shared purpose. So that's you. Now, yeah. Oh, wow is right. So Katie, for you, if you got 22, if your birth date adds up to 22, you combine great impulsiveness and great mastery, a fine line to balance. The number 22 represents 0, the Fool, since there are 22 cards in the major arcana, and in numerology, 22 is a master number signifying great wisdom or great folly. It reduces to 4, the Emperor. While you might consider 4, the Emperor, to be your soul card, and 22/0, the Fool, to be your personality card, especially when figuring your numerological lessons and opportunities cards, I find that in practice they work as a unit. Don't expect Emperor Fools like Woody Allen to sit still for anyone's system. Yeah, hold on 1 second here. Yeah, so that's so Katie, that's you. You are Fool Emperor. So it's good when you're doing these calculations to stop and to pause between each of the addition to subtract sequences, because all of these numbers that you're adding up and resulting, they tell a different portion of your personality or soul card or your teacher card. Yes, hold on a second. Yeah, I'll explain about the hidden teacher cards. Totally, literally laughing out loud. What was the hidden cards, though? That has confused me a little. All right, so the hidden cards are shadow cards. So your hidden factor card, so it's not quite the same as your teacher card. It's a little bit different, especially if you have, like, if you're a 1910-1, it's not hidden. So it's like, it's a teacher card, you learn from it, but it's not a hidden aspect. If you have a portion of your constellation that's hidden, as in it doesn't result, you don't see that number when you're doing the addition to subtract, this would be your shadow card. So your hidden factor card indicates aspects of yourself that you fear, reject, or don't see, and thus it can also be called the shadow card. The shadow, a term used and defined by psychologist Carl Jung, refers to unknown or little known parts of the personality. They are aspects of ourselves that we deny and thus can't see directly. However, we remain sensitive to these qualities and therefore tend to see them in others via the psychological mechanism of projection. So the shadow qualities are dualistic, having a dark side and a bright side. They contain tremendous power, psychic power, that we can use if we contact them without fear. The bright shadow can refer to the qualities that we admire: appearance, creativity, assertiveness, and actually have the potential to manifest. But again, we cannot see it in ourselves. So the shadow card functions in much the same way that Saturn does in one's astrological chart. So Saturn is the outermost personal planet, and as such, it establishes the limits beyond which we cannot go without expanding into transpersonal and metaphysical experience. Most of us, though, experience this card as a mirror in which we see fears and fascinations, and we confront our limitations. Often the hidden factor points out our invisible beliefs. So this gets real deep real fast. Welcome to the broadcast if you're new here. Lucy, hi Lucy. I think for Emperor Fool, hidden is Moon. Yeah, let me look. 22, 22, 22. Yeah, we're gonna look, because we have all these constellations laid out here. So let me see here. Emperor. I think Moon is related to Hermit. And I believe the Fool relates to Death and Emperor. Yeah. It's okay, Lucy. I got it. So I think it's Death. Yes. Well, I'm very familiar with that only because I'm Death Emperor. And now I can't find where I have my calculations, which I know I did. Yep. Oh yeah, I'm a single 4. I'm totally a single 4 Emperor. And my personality and my soul card are both the Emperor, and it's associated with the 4s of the minor arcana. Oh, and I already figured out my 2021 year card, so I can say that in a couple minutes here. So let me move out of that one. Yes. So yeah, it's Moon Hermit. I've got the entire constellation over here. So I'm happy to yes. Wow. Yeah. No, it's Death. I got confused. Totally fine. It can get a little confusing. So Dina says, I am a 9/18 Hermit Moon. Yeah, and actually, spoiler alert, when you listen to the Card Slingers episode in a couple of months, that is also Melissa's combination, 9/18. Now the question 9/18. So 9/18. Yep. No, that works out. That checks out. Okay, now to get my head around the Death card, which actually is one of my favorite tarot cards. Yeah, I mean, I love the Death card too, honestly. But we can talk about it in the different constellations. So hello, Ashley. Welcome to the broadcast. We're talking about tarot birth cards and year cards tonight. And if you want to catch up, replays are available after the live broadcast is done. So you're not missing out on anything, really. So yeah, the Death card is actually one of my favorite cards too. I really do like the Emperor, but I feel like I'm just so enmeshed in Emperor energy. I'm just used to that combination. So we can talk about So give me examples, like do your calculations and everything and tell me what you are. And I can read a little bit from Who Are You in the Tarot. If you have any questions about how those tarot cards might be applicable to your personality card, to your soul card, to your teacher card or hidden factor shadow card, happy to look that up for you. What I wanted to say, why did I just forget that? Oh, yes. So I mentioned before the Tarot School, which is run by the Amberstones, Ruth Ann and Wald Amberstone, who put on the Reader's Studio every year. Of course, not last year because, pandemic. They actually launched a birth card course. So if you want to look into going into birth cards more in depth, you can totally sign up for that. It would be just thetarotschool.com. But they do have a free birth card calculator, and then what that means. If you want to do it through there and see how that works out. I'm just going to put that in the chat so you can go ahead and look at that. Show it here. So instead of doing the calculation by hand, which we just did, or what I just showed you how to do it, you can go to the Tarot School's birth card calculator and calculate it through there, and they'll do it for you. However, I did notice, and you're going to hear this again if you listen to the podcast episode in a couple of months for card slingers, we've found some differences between the two and how to calculate. So I like to do the calculation myself and then see the differences and see if the differences like match up to my understanding of birth cards or to my understanding of my own personality. So that's something to investigate, and let me know what you think about that, because that's probably going to be your homework assignment for when you listen to that podcast episode. Have you noticed that we've been assigning homework assignments in the last couple of episodes? By the way, there is a new episode that we just released today, Into the Mystic Part 2, because we couldn't contain our discussion about other methods of divination besides tarot in one episode. So we did 2 episodes. So we were a little bit punchy in that episode, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, that was a lot for our audio producer to go through. Yeah, exactly. So thank you, Katie, for pointing that out. So notice that there was a little bit of an additional thing for single 22, right? Which they're not covering when you do the calculation on the Tarot School, right? So that's exactly the kind of differences that we noticed when we did the podcast episode. So, all right. Who wants to hear about their stuff? So I already said a little bit about Sun Wheel, that constellation. So we've got different constellations here. Like, I'll talk about myself because I don't mind talking about myself. Yeah. I think that's exactly it. So Lucy was saying, yes, I'm interested in the Tarot School's course. Haven't scheduled the time for it yet. Yep. I think the Tarot School doesn't do hidden cards. Yeah, I don't think they do hidden cards either. Because I think technically speaking, the Fool would be my hidden factor, only because I am a single 4 when I do my calculation. And if you want, this is when we did the episode. This is when we recorded the birth cards episode for the Card Slingers podcast. So as you can see, we record ahead of time and parse them out when we can. So these were all my calculations for my stuff. So I am a single 4. Emperor, hidden factor is the Fool for me, and then Death would be my teacher card. And Katie says, well, it's pulled out the hidden card as as the major, my example, so I would agree. Exactly. So, so there are different constellations. We have the constellation of the Magician, which includes personality and soul patterns 1-1, 10-1, and 19-10 and 1. The principle of will and focused consciousness. Soul archetype is consciousness, outer sense of self, persona. The aces of the minor arcana indicate the opportunity to begin new things and reveal your 4 basic skills. And the tens demonstrate the developed skills with which to meet challenges and the results of taking the principles to their extremes. So actually, that's an interesting constellation for the minors, because it doesn't just consider the aces, the ones of the minor arcana. It also takes into account the tens of the minor arcana as well. So the start and the finish line as well. So that's something that that is within your constellation if you have the Magician coming up. So that 19-10-1, that's you, Dylan. Thank you. Thank you, Lucy, for catching up, Ashley. But Ashley, if you want to watch this episode after the live broadcast is done, all of this information is at the beginning of the episode. You really didn't miss much, honestly. It was mostly me figuring it out and getting past my own addition issues. Let's just put it that way. So I would love to know, Dylan, if you're still tuning in, whether you feel that that constellation matches up to lessons you've learned previously. Just let me know. So the next constellation. So I'm gonna skip over to Katie's, because she's 22. And also, she happens to be my constellation, which is the Emperor. So Emperor is Fool, Death, and Emperor. The principle is life force and realization of power. Personality and soul card patterns are 4-4, 13-4, and 22-4. And hidden factor teacher cards can be 13, 22, and 13. 13 and 22, 22 and 13, and the minor arcana 4s. Let me go. Yeah. Soul archetype is masculine, ordered, structured father. The 4s indicate the opportunities to consolidate and complete something in preparation for renewal. And we can get into more depth in these, but it's basically like how you understand that major arcana can help inform kind of your personality in the way that your horoscope can. So Dylan says, oh, for sure. Figured as much. Who else? I know Dina said, I'm a 9/18 Hermit moon. So let's look at the constellation of the Hermit. So remember that the constellations run from 1, the constellation of the Magician, to 9, the constellation of the Hermit. And then everything, all of the other cards of the tarot are all included within those constellations. So the constellation of the Hermit includes personality and soul patterns 9-9 and 18-9. The principle of introspection and personal integrity. The soul archetype, Old Wise One, and Journey to the Underworld. The 9s of the minor arcana indicate the challenges to be faced by looking within and discovering your own wisdom. And there you go. Well, that matches up. You know, the more difficult part of this kind of work is when it doesn't match up. And that, I think, kind of comes in with the hidden factor stuff, where you're just like, oh, that doesn't resonate with me. And it's just like, well, give it a little bit, sit with it and feel where that discomfort is coming from. And you might find something interesting that you didn't know about yourself before, right? So Dina says, I love all the nines and the minor arcana too. So that matches up perfectly with your constellation of the Hermit. And I do meditate a lot. LOL. Yeah. So yeah, and it says here for minor arcana, the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s in each suit are the cardinal signs of each element. Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn initiate a season and demonstrate the assertion and drive of that element. So that actually matches up with my astrology because I am an Aries. The 5s, 6s, and 7s are the fixed signs: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. They demonstrate the depth, maintenance, and persistence of the suit and element. The 8s, 9s, and 10s are the mutable signs: Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. They demonstrate the flexibility and adaptability of the element as they prepare for the completion that precedes a new initiation. Like, for example, Dina, I'm not sure what sign you are, but I know that Melissa was also a 9, what was it? 18-9. And she is a Sagittarius. So that lines up with the mutable signs. So I don't know if you're a Gemini, a Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces, but it might make sense if you are, because that matches up with the numbers. So the 10 of Wands, for instance, is the third decadent of Sagittarius, mutable fire, which includes the dates December 13th to the 21st. Thus, your birthday, month and day, corresponds to one of the minor arcana cards, which is known as your zodiacal lesson and opportunity. It can function as one of your lifetime cards, as discussed in chapter 3. So, like, we can get real deep into it if we want to, but I don't think there's enough time for that. Huh. Well, I mean, sometimes it matches up, sometimes it don't. But there you go. I have lots of Gemini and Virgo possibly in your chart. So, I mean, this is a really good example of we are not just our sun sign, right? So thank you, Dylan, for being my guinea pig and showing us how the tarot birth cards work. So Katie says, I find the Emperor card hard to relate to. It's a hard energy to me. Weird, though, considering I like my hidden card. Crazy stuff. And I mean, so speaking as a fellow Emperor Death, I really like the Death card. I'm not so much of a fan of the Emperor card, but I can also understand how it would be applicable to me. So yeah, having it be hard to relate to can be part of the lesson, really. Like forget about, like, maybe the hidden card for you isn't really the Death card. Maybe it is the Emperor card. Maybe the Emperor card is functioning more as your teacher card than it is your soul card or your personality card. Yeah, because I've got difficulties with the Emperor card too, just based on my relationship with my father, estrangement issues, his premature death. I mean, like, and all of that, like, encapsulated, like the fact that my constellation is Emperor Death, it's not lost on me, because it's like father issues, and my father croaked it early. Well, earlier than he was supposed to, very unexpectedly. And so there's a lot of lessons around that. So I'm just using me as an example because I can't speak out of turn for anybody else, but I can definitely speak about my own experiences without stepping on anyone's toes. And actually, if I do step on people's toes about that, like, screw you. He was my dad. Everyone knows everyone knows that knows me personally knows about that situation. So it's good stuff. Yeah, I mean, you can have it as a different relationship or learning how to relate to it differently. Think of Emperor as an old oak tree. That's true. as a teacher card makes sense. Premature death of father and fiance, so that makes sense. I'm sorry to hear that, Katie, but so lessons for me too. Absolutely. So like that can be, it can be surrounding not just a father figure, but also the masculine principle as well. We don't, like, we can talk about the emperor as like the male ruler, just as the empress is the female ruler, but there's so much more to the emperor and the empress card than just that. There's talk about the patriarchy and the matriarchy. There's talk about what does it mean to embody that energy? What does that mean to be in balance with that energy? There's a lot to unpack there. So, and it has a little bit of unfortunately, a little bit of prognostication to it, or patterns in our lives that like become apparent, and we can't see it until we're past it, and then we're looking back. So this is part of the reason. Yes, yeah. See, this is the reason why I do these classes publicly, because we all can contribute. We all can help each other with the different comments that we're giving, as long as those comments are done with kindness and respect, right? So what I was going to say about that is, you know, the reason why teaching about tarot birth cards and year cards can be so important. To me, tarot is never about really forecasting stuff or future tripping or the predictive aspect of tarot. Like, that shit doesn't interest me. Like, yes, I can do it. And yes, I will do it if my clients ask me to do it. I will try and prognosticate, as it were. But like, my real jam with tarot is understanding my life, and for my clients, helping them to understand their life and their patterns. Because ultimately, tarot for me is about pattern recognition. And from that, like, past gives rise to the present gives rise to the future. From that, we can start to change the future. But like the future tripping stuff, like, it's not really my jam. It's just not, you know. I'm more fascinated by the concept of birth cards, and then also we're going to talk about it. I know we're running pretty long in this episode, but I would love to tackle the year cards, because the year cards are like a little tweak of the edition, and then you can find out the card for the year. Using the tarot birth cards and then using the year cards for past years that might have given you trouble, or you might have had a situation that you wanted to understand better. Using that calculation may give you so much relief. It's almost a form of therapy. Now, I'm not saying I'm a therapist or a counselor or licensed or anything like that, but you can use the tarot cards or these calculations to help make a little bit more sense of a past year that might have been strange to you, or might have been like, why did that happen? When that happened? Why did that person leave my life in that year? Why did that occur? You know, and it might not give you closure per se, but it might just help you understand it a little bit better. Like, I first really learned. See, and Lucy's getting a little bit ahead. Lucy's getting a little bit ahead because we haven't done the year cards yet, but Lucy is saying that this is her lover's year. And what that might mean, not necessarily as the lover's. So I'm not a huge fan of the lover's card because a lot of people get, I guess, wrong connotations about the lover's card. It can be sexy, sexy fun time. And we do talk about this on a previous Card Slingers podcast episode about this. But to me, the lover's card is way more about choice and making a decision and like that fork in the road, rather than like sexy, sexy fun time. So that might be something to look out for, Lucy, in this year, where you have to make a lot of decisions, or you might have to come to a fork in the road about a relationship or about your career or up leveling. So those are the kind of the themes of a lover's year, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Oh, sorry, you mentioned the year card and I got excited. Well, I mean, we can segue into that. So, I must be psychic, Lucy. I must be psychic. By the way, Lucy is an amazing artist and painter, and I will get back to you, Lucy. I know that you sent me a message about the frame for my painting. Like, this is a big art purchase that I'm getting, but like my face is in a tarot card, and I'm like, ah. So yay, but like definitely check out Lucy's work because that tarot deck is going to be the bomb diggity, y'all. Like I'm thinking I'm just going to get that frame. Just putting it out there, but I will get back to you. So let us talk about tarot year cards. Because it's not too much of a different calculation. So I'm sorry, did anyone need clarification though? Before we move on to tarot year cards, did anyone need clarification about their constellation? Because I feel like we had a couple of examples. Pretty good examples, I would say. Like, because I have this book. So, like, I don't need to know about the Emperor, the Death Emperor constellation, which is Death Emperor, the Fool, and the Fours of the Minor Arcana. But if you guys want me to give more examples about the different cards that have come up for you, for your birth cards, your personality cards, your soul cards, I'm happy to do that. But I would just recommend picking up this book. It has all of the information that I just taught you and even more in-depth information. Like, it's got a lot of stuff here. Like dialoguing with the cards. Like for example, dialoguing with the Major Arcana Emperor. Where does my power lie? How can I establish my own authority? What must I rule within myself? In what direction have I chosen to focus my energies? What rules or boundaries do I need to consider or construct? Now, y'all, I don't know if you've caught wise to the fact that I've been having to do a lot of boundary work lately. And I mean, I've taught this at least twice in the series of workshops and episodes. So, but like that seems to be something that surrounds the constellation of the Emperor, is having to assert authority or having to assert boundary and what your relationship to authority is. Woo! So speak now or forever hold your peace until we talk about it again. Like if you're the constellation of the Lovers, if you're the constellation of the Hierophant, the Emperor, the Hanged Man. Katie, you and me both, kid. Boundaries, my extreme fail. I snorted when you mentioned boundaries. See, Death Emperor, it ain't just about the fun card of death meaning change. It's also about creating boundaries and being like it's almost like, I don't know, it does have this Saturn constriction to it. And another book I would recommend, especially if you're into astrology and how astrology outside of your sun sign affects you and what that means. The Little Book of Saturn by Eliza Einhorn, I believe is her last name. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Eliza. I'm very sorry. It's a really, really great book, and it made me laugh out loud several times because of the shit that she was saying about the placement of my Saturn, both the sign in which my Saturn is and the house that my Saturn is in. Like, spit, take, laugh. Because I think I believe my Saturn is in the 8th house, if I'm remembering correctly. And one of the things she said in her book was like, oh, Saturn in 8th house people are naturally psychics or like paranormal investigators. And I'm just like, so yeah. Okay. So Lucy is, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Katie. Like if you haven't read that one, like first you need to do your natal chart to find out where your stuff is, where your Saturn is, both sign and house. And then go ahead, flip through that, see when your Saturn return was and is. If you're blessed to have a long life, you will have at least 3. If you're lucky too. It's an amazing book. It's really great. And it's not that long either, but it packs a powerful punch. So Lucy is the Hanged Man and Empress. So that would be the constellation of the Empress. Let me flip. So the constellation of the Empress would be 21, 12, and 3. Principle of love and creative imagination. Astrological correspondent is Venus. Personal love and giving birth to body. Hanged Man is Neptune and unconditional love, giving birth to soul. And the world is Saturn and universal love and giving birth to spirit. The soul archetype is feminine, fertile, and creative mother. And the keywords are creativity, nurturance, sacrifice, surrender, form, relatedness, fertility, limitation, and imagination. So that resides, Empress related to the goddesses Demeter and Ceres, bountiful, fertile, growth producing. Deep regard for relatedness of all things. Mothering is another central issue. Strong sense of reality. Negatively, you fear letting go of those you feel connected to. You thrive in comfortable surroundings, finding ugliness distasteful and from your point of view, unnecessary. Hanged Man as personality card. This is the card of the mystic, the shaman, the dreamer. 12-3s see things that are not of this world. Taken to the extreme, 12-3s can totally sacrifice themselves for their loved ones or a beloved cause. Yep. So like this, you'll hear it in the Card Slingers episode when we talk about birth cards. Melissa, so Jamie and I were both very familiar with the concept of tarot birth cards, but Melissa wasn't, so we used her as the guinea pig. And she was like kind of skeptical about it. But then when we started to like read some of the synopsis, she was just like, all right, stop. Like, stop it. So let us talk about year cards, because I can't believe we're going for almost 2 hours now. So tarot year cards are calculated in much the same way as your tarot birth card would be, except instead of using, and I'll use me as an example because I have it right here. So instead of using your birth year, you would use the year that you want to ask about. For example, the year cards for me for 2020 ended up being a Tower year. And I think it's still a tower year, even if I change how I add it up. Hold on one second. Let me do this. So back to the drawing board. Get your pen or your pencil and your paper. And right now, I want you to calculate what your year card is going to be for 2021. So we're already in it. And all you have to do is, instead of putting in your birth year, put in the year 2021. Or if you want to see what your birth card was for last year, 2020, put in 2020. And tell me what you get while I sit here and double check my math. Oh, I think I'm wrong. Hold on one second. I think I might be wrong. Yeah, so here you go. Following the example below, add the month and date of your birth to the current year and reduce it to 22 or less. So like she used 2048 as an example. But so in determining your year card, always keep the highest number under 23 and don't reduce it. So that is the difference. And I'm just going to read for you the commencement of your tarot year. So when does my year card begin? On January 1st or on my birthday? The answer can be both. There are two different cycles that overlap to some extent, depending on how late your birthday is in the year. I look at both, but many prefer to focus on just one of the two cycles. People with birthdays at the beginning through middle of the year will have little trouble using the January to January cycle for most purposes. It's easier to recognize and identify the outer events that happen to you January to January rather than your inner motivations and modes of expression birthday to birthday. Those with birthdays in the last 2 months might find the most of their associations with the card falling in the following calendar year. For instance, at the beginning of a hermit year, all your friends seem suddenly unavailable. By your birthday, you've realized how much you can accomplish as you enjoy the time to complete things and do some reflecting on your own. Then in January, as you move into a Wheel of Fortune year, outer events cycle, you are thrown into a whirl of social events and sudden opportunities. So it really is what synchronizes or what you find to be most apropos for you. So yeah, I think I calculated my year card wrong again. I think, I don't know. I think I might be going into a strength year, depending on how I've done the addition. I don't know. I think it really depends. Whatever system you use, and Mary Greer does say this in her book, just make sure you're consistent. So if you're going to do it one way, do it one way. If you're going to do it the other way, do it the other way. Just keep it consistent. Don't try and you're going to confuse yourself if you do it one way for one and one way for the other, or a different way for the other. No. So, okay. So Dina, I also believe that I am a strength card this year. Lucy says, I feel like my year card energies start after my birthday. And see, if that's what works for you and what resonates for you, then that's what works for you. And Katie says, I'm thinking the same since I'm in August. Yeah. So do what works for you. So Dina asks, so you shouldn't bring it down to a single digit for year cards. No. Because now I'm really confused by that, because if I do it like the long ways of addition this way, then I'm in a tower year. I was in a tower year last year, and I'm in a star year this year, which I would prefer and makes total sense. However, I just did the addition again, and I got 2 + 3 + 3, which would be 8, which would be strength. So yeah, it says here, following the example below, add the month and date of your birth to the current year and reduce it to 22 or less. So for example here, 8/26/2012 adds up to 2048. 2 + 0 + 4 + 8 = 14, which is the temperance card. In determining the year card, always keep the highest number under 23 and don't reduce it. Let's do it for you. All right. April 8th, 4/8/2021. So Dina says, so I actually equal a 17, which is a star. See, and that's why I'm confused too. Because that's what I thought. I thought it was. I thought last year. I don't know how. Yeah. So last year I thought it was Chariot, and then that would make sense that I'm going into a strength year. So now I'm like completely confused. That maybe I did it right the entire time. I don't know. Go ahead, go for it. Reading from the collective for me. Katie says, let's do it for you, Hilary. Go ahead. Go ahead. Get a quorum. Yep. That's fine with me. Calculate my tarot year card. That's fine. I will take a little break. I will take a hydration break. And yeah. Because you'll see, so both ways, right? So I swear to God. I wonder if there's a calculator for year cards. That way I don't have to do this math, like, ever again. I told you, this is the reason why I'm an English major. Yes, that's how I was calculating it. But here's the thing. I had done it long ways. Yeah, we can do, you know what? Yeah, let's do both. I don't want a strength year. I'm trying to get out of having a strength year. So what I did, here's what I did. This is what I did. Now you see the difference here. Because 4 plus 8 plus 2 plus 2 equals 16. So that's why I thought it was a tower year. And then for 2021, you would just go one up from that so that after the tower comes the star, which I was totally fine with. And now if I'm doing it this way, right? If I'm doing it this way, it works out to strength. And so I was right all along that 7, when I did the addition for last year, I was right. It was a chariot year. See, yeah, absolute difference, but I'm taking it from what she put in the book. And that's exactly the reason why I'm teaching it to you that way. I'm just like, let's not fuck with this. I think that's the reason why I got so confused the last time. And now, when we have that episode for Card Slingers, now I have to go backwards again and I have to write a disclaimer for that episode. Oh my God. Stop it. Lucy, stop it. We have to do it the other way. We have to do it the way that Mary says in her book. Anyway, so I want to know, what is your tarot year card? And let's go with what Mary said in her book. So it's a strength year for me, and apparently for Dina as well. Not happy about it, because me and the strength card are not friends. So if you examine your year card, if you examine the year card chart, you will notice several interesting things. Because our mathematical system is decimally based, the numbers run in 10-year cycles, although in some cases the single-digit numbers are actually reduced 23s, 24s, and 25s. These 10-year cycles have a line separating them in the chart. So every 10 years, you jump to a new cycle of numbers, usually beginning one number higher than the previous cycle. Depending on your age, you may not experience the highest numbered major arcana cards in your lifetime. For instance, after January 1st, 1988, there were no more 19, 10, and 1 personalities born, although they had been relatively abundant previous to that. They will begin appearing again after 2069. Ugh. No. Make time to make friends, I guess so. And so Katie is saying temperance for me, another one I struggle to connect with. One example of a generational factor is that many people born between December 31st, 1957 and January 1st, 1998 had the High Priestess as their personality card. Their birthdays added up to 2000. This card has not figured as a personality or year card for the last 900 years since January 1st, 1098 CE. She will not appear as a birth or a year number again for approximately 8,000 years. She appeared just before a period that was marked by social myths of our time. For instance, prophecies of native peoples all over the world that this is a time of great transformation and possible destruction. Most of these myths allow for choice or decision to be made by human beings about how to relate globally in order to save our planet. Some of these prophecies claim that a rise in goddess consciousness and the conception of the earth as Gaia was essential for making the right choices during this vulnerable time. That's freaking interesting. So missing and most repeated year cards. In a lifetime of 80 or so years, the average person will experience the majority of the major arcana as year cards. Look through your chart to determine which cards, and therefore lessons, you will never experience. These are not necessarily for you in this lifetime, representing qualities probably already well developed. Which cards will you receive most often? These are your greatest lessons to learn and probably the most difficult, but you are not alone. Your entire generation has a similar focus. Milestones and turning points, the minor arcana as year cards. Cycle themes, interpreting your year card. So here's the kind of stuff that I wanted to really focus on and end the lesson or the workshop on before we move into the weekend forecast, which is going to function as both the card of the day and the weekend forecast, considering I didn't put my card of the day up today. So following interpretations of the major arcana as year cards suggest lessons to be learned in each year. They're intended to be suggestive rather than authoritative. Don't use them as a substitute for working with the cards yourself. In other words, try to discover directly what they have to tell you. The various symbols on your current year card are psychic and sometimes literal tools you can use. Ask the figures on the card what the symbols are for and how to use them. Dialogue with your year card. One way to begin a dialogue is, what do I need to learn from you this year? Do this with a feeling of spontaneous nonchalance, a characteristic of the divine fool. Begin playfully and say whatever comes to mind without thinking about it, so your pen is in constant motion. Date these dialogues and keep them in your tarot notebook. Put along with written observations about previous years and the correlations of the cards to the events of each year. See page 180. Remember that your year card will not tell you what will happen, but rather it will help you focus on the lesson for you in whatever happens. You will find, however, that when a year card repeats, certain themes unique to you will also repeat, but at new levels of a developmental spiral, hopefully. So I know that strength is coming up for both me and Dina, and we're just going to go with that. Just going to go with that. So real quickly, Lucy, you said your card is a lover's card for the year. In a lover's year, the focus is on relationships. People initiate them and then end them, or occasionally will not be in any relationship at all because they are unwilling to accept less than what they want and need. This may also pertain to relationships with family, coworkers, and friends. This is also a year to begin turning to yourself for much of the support and encouragement you need. You can do this by realizing that you can communicate with an inner voice that has a direct line to your highest self. An old title for this card is The Two Paths, reminding us that a lover's year is a year of choices and often involves a fork in the road or a major turning point in your 10-year cycle. Your relationships will have a major influence on your decisions and may lie behind the need to make those decisions now. So that's for Lucy for her Lover's year. Strength year. In your strength year, the central questions are, is my heart in what I am doing? Is it what I truly desire? After a year of suppressing your feelings in order to move ahead, you find your essential emotions reemerging. In fact, you will need them if you are continuing in your chosen direction. Without renewed passion, you may not endure the challenges and your fears about them. Thus, you could be forced to redirect your efforts. It's time to look at your instinctual nature and deal with any fears you have around it. A connection with animals can be especially important this year. As a card relating to Leo, this year you experience a lust, as Crowley calls this card, for creativity and self-expression. The other side of the strength card can be very difficult. It may challenge you to use all your fortitude in order to persevere through situations of great difficulty, such as career, health, or family problems. You struggle to balance your own needs with the needs of those you love, and you may be tested in your ability to handle something heart-rending, so stick with it no matter how hard it gets. Be courageous. Now, if you are someone that does the swap between the strength as 8 and the justice card as 11, and you prefer to switch those and see the justice card as number 8, then it would be a justice year. But I don't think most of you do that. I think most of you are strength as 8. So. Temperance year. Katie, learn to make cocktails. That's a good one. Right, Dina? Our cherry year, we went nowhere. Here's something interesting, though. People often travel or relocate in a chariot year, yet as a card relating to Cancer, a sense of roots is necessary for you to feel secure in a possibly turbulent year. Occasionally, you become so attached to home or protected by armor that you turn to stone, becoming an immovable object. As the moon rules Cancer, being near water can help you relax those touchy emotions and soothe your jangled nerves. Wow. Well, I think we were the turn to stone, becoming an immovable object portion of the chariot for the year card for 2020. Well, and also let's not, chariot isn't just about movement. True mastery requires that you work on self-control and self-discipline. If you give free rein to your instincts and emotions represented by the sphinxes, they may tear you apart. This can be experienced as some kind of breakdown, losing your temper or worse, or an accident, sometimes literally acted out in your automobile or chariot. Goal-oriented focus. Yep. Wow. 7 is a number of initiation. A 7 year is one in which you take your abilities to the next level. Wow. You're welcome, I think. Oh, snap. Yeah. Oh, snap is right. Let's see temperance. And then we've got to wrap up here. So for Katie, your temperance year is one in which you creatively combine things in new and different ways. You find your resources and assistance you didn't know were available before, both from peers and spiritually. Your major lessons may be about compassion, reconciliation, and healing breaches, how to turn problems into blessings. You have the inner endurance to slowly wear away all obstacles with patience and grace. Some people find they can learn to play with time, stretching it out and slowly slowing it down deliberately. Synchronicities and everyday miracles happen in quite extraordinary ways. It's a year associated with Sagittarius. It's time for rejuvenation of your higher mind for philosophy, communications, or healing. You are interested in new forms for old things and how to revive stale ideas, because in the Temperance card, it is alchemy, merging the two goblets into something new and different. You may even work on some kind of restoration or conservation project. You can bridge and make connections, perhaps through networking or by acting as a mediator. You will tackle problem-solving situations and are willing to experiment and look for ways that involve adaptation and moderation. If the death year was painful and disintegrating, so last year, then in the Temperance year, take time to restore yourself, balancing your energies and building your new self. And this is another card about being near water. Taking time alone to commune with your inner self, seeking out an understanding friend will all be of a great help. If you've been there through this before, you can now serve as a compassionate friend and healer to another. Damn. Yeah, I think I did it wrong, honestly. Good. Good. So, I mean, like, this is, again, this is like very similar to pretty much anything I say about a companion book or a beginner tarot book. You can find all the keywords and meanings and interpretations, but what ultimately matters and what ultimately you're going to remember is how you relate to the cards. How you experience the cards. So that if you're having difficulty in either the birth cards that you calculated tonight, or the year card that you calculated for 2021, or a past year in which you had some difficulty, you want to understand it, I would really suggest what Mary suggests in this book is foster a dialogue with that card to find out what it's trying to tell you, rather than going with pat meanings. Or, I mean, this is a very good book, but ultimately, if you are feeling something different about Temperance or the Devil card or the Emperor card, then like really explore those feelings and have a dialogue with that card, to find out what it means to you and how it relates to you. Because that personal connection, that's something that I can't teach and I can't give to you. You have to give that to yourself with your work with the tarot. So, another big ass episode, running, I don't know, what are we, almost 2 hours and 40 minutes. Like, damn, I had really anticipated only doing like maybe half-hour episodes, but hey, when we get all pruny and delicious with the tarot, it goes however long it needs to go, right? So any lingering questions that I can answer about tarot birth card and year cards before we move on to the weekend forecast, which I've already pulled because it's kind of the card of the day. Just saying. I also want to really emphasize, like, this work is so good for past years in which you had difficulty. An example of that is when this book first came out. So this book came out in 2011. And 2011 was the year that I started working with Teresa Reed, that I won the Tarot Apprentice Contest, which was a year-long business mentoring relationship with her. And it's also the first year that I attended both Reader's Studio and the San Francisco Bay Area Tarot Symposium, aka BATS. That's when I originally got a copy of this book, my copy that I had to get a new copy. Anyway, but this is when this book came out, and this was the class that Mary was teaching at the Bay Area's Tarot Symposium. And one of the exercises was sitting down with and thinking back to some years in which we wanted to better understand and calculate the year cards that came up with those years. And I found, so I used the example of, I believe it was 2007, as one of the years that I really wanted to know what the hell happened. Because a major relationship, I broke up with someone that I was in a major relationship with. It was the year that I started dating the person that is now my husband. Just a lot of things happened in 2007, so I wanted to understand it. And I can't remember off the top of my head which card came up for that particular year. And in fact, actually, anyone want to do that for me? 4/8/2007. If I'm remembering correctly, I think it was the Tower. And it certainly did reflect everything that happened, but I couldn't understand that when I was in that year. But in hindsight, it was very, very clear. Hold on. Let me see. Hmm. 12? Am I getting 12 here? I think that might have been a hermit year. Is that crazy? Hanged Man. Hanged Man, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. It was yeah. In a hanged man year, and I flipped right to it too. In a hanged man year, you will have to release things from your past. Sometimes when this involves the loss of someone you were attached to, it feels like a betrayal. Wow. Painful or wounding experiences of such a year, however, serve the purpose of inward spiritual growth. Relax and let go. Release old patterns and surrendering fixed ideas. Sacrifices are made in hangman years in which you put someone else's needs first or sacrifice a lesser thing for the sake of a greater. Yeah. Wow. Wow. That just took my breath away. Just reading that, I'm just like, oh yeah. Yeah, I felt that. I felt that in my heart and my solar plexus, like a punch to the gut. So yeah. So I was like sitting at the hotel in which they were holding that in San Francisco. And I'm sitting there and, it's the great Mary Kay Greer in front. And I'm like holding back sobs, realizing the tarot was telling me my life again. So work like that can be very fruitful if you calculate your year cards for some of the pivotal years in your life up until now. And I'd really like to know if that happens or you come across a revelation. Feel free to message my inbox. We can talk about it. I can give you some more insight about it if you'd like. No questions asked, no charge needed. Within reason. Oh, Mary's awesome. Honestly, she's awesome, and she's very down to earth too. And I think she'd be probably very uncomfortable if I kept on going on about her. So I'm not going to. But she's a wonderful resource and very approachable as well, which is like amazing. So I won't go on and on. But I would really recommend like exploring those tarot year cards, those tarot birth cards. And if you want to discuss some of this or do some of this work with me one-on-one, you can totally book a reading with me, www.tarotbyhilary.com. So some of my clients already know some of this work because back when I still had my former copy of this book, I would take this with me specifically to 3 lovely ladies that I read for every year. And they usually have their readings back to back to back. And so while the other 2 are waiting for their reading, I usually give them homework. And yes, I am that freaking tarot reader. I will give you homework. But they love it. And so whatever it is that I'm learning about, or whatever it is that I'm fascinated about, I will usually bring along something for them to occupy their time as I'm doing the reading for their friend. And the day that I brought this book, I had them calculate their birth cards and their year cards and everything. And then when they sat down to do the reading with me, those cards would come up. And it was just so, it really deepened the reading that I did for them because it was confirmation. It's just like, oh, okay, so you found out you're a hermit, or oh, okay, you found out you're a constellation of the Empress. Like, let's pay attention now to if those cards come up and where they come up in your reading so we can have more focus, more emphasis on it. And it may be like a situation that you need to have deeper focus on, more so than if you were just reading the cards, just surface, which is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong than doing a surface reading of the cards, but some of this work can really deepen your tarot readings. If you were to go to a tarot reader, it doesn't have to be me, but if you were to go to a tarot reader and say, like, I did my birth card calculation and I'm this constellation, like they'll be like, cool, you did your homework. Like, that's awesome, especially if it's a tarot reader that already does that kind of work. And you can even pay attention yourself if the Empress card comes up for you and it's also your birth constellation. So tons of things you can do with this information. Now that you can take this information and run with it. And I would definitely recommend, if you're interested in this topic, the Tarot School is a wonderful place to go to learn about some of these topics, including birth cards. So, and they have a bunch of correspondence courses, audio courses, and teleclasses as well. And if you're looking to work with me or to learn tarot, I keep on forgetting to mention this, but next week, my Tarot Intuitive course that runs from February to the first week of March opens up for enrollment as of, Monday, I think. So this will be the 3rd year I'm teaching it, and it has, I believe, 4 modules and then a bonus module of your choosing, but it's my methodology of how I teach tarot to people. So if you're interested in learning tarot from me, you can totally do that, and actually let me put that link in there too, so you can learn more about that. And please keep in mind that the splash page that I'm giving you is not up to date with this year's dates. So now I'm going to drink some water. And then we're going to do the weekend forecast. And if you're all still with me, you're troopers. So there you go. There it is dropped into the chat. So you can go ahead and click on that link if you want to learn more about it and learn tarot with me. And if you've already been tuning into these live workshops that I do every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you kind of have a sense of how I read tarot and how I teach already. So this is, I guess, an excellent advertisement for, well, what am I gonna be getting with working with Hilary, like this, but just more information and greater access to me because you are a paying student. So like that's how I gotta roll, like I've gotta keep my priorities straight. And, if you want direct access to me and want to be my student, you gotta pay for it. there's a lot of stuff that I offer for free, but I'm worth it. In the words of what? L'Oreal, Maybelline? I don't know. Anyway, let us get to the weekend forecast. Where the hell? I'm sorry. I'm still dealing with Be Live and whatever. Oh, and they have live sales here too. So I'm like a little bit confused. Ooh. Hold on, I want to test something out. I need to test something out. I want to see if this works. See. Oh no, does that not work? Why doesn't it let me? Huh. Give me 1 second here while I'm thinking about it. Does anyone have any questions before I switch over to the weekend forecast and while I'm experimenting with this? Cool. So that's the live sales feature. That's pretty cool. I'll have to remember that the next time somebody's asking for a freebie, right? Very cool. All right. Thanks for bearing with me as I tried that out. Now I just have to figure out where my widget is for the banner for the weekend forecast. So I can, that automatically propagates when I put something up for live sale. So good to know, right? So Katie says, I keep playing with future numbers and it doesn't seem to cycle to 22. It switches back to a lower number at some point. Like as if you haven't learned the early lessons of life. Takes a whole decade before it goes one further number up. Yes, and so that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying before. And now I don't have the I don't have the thing bookmarked, but she talked a little bit about that cycle and the decades and the generational stuff. Hold on. Yes, it's a 10-year cycle. So you're absolutely right, Katie. You're not going crazy with what you're saying. That's what she meant when she said, because our mathematical system is decimally based, the numbers run in 10-year cycles. Although in some cases, the single-digit numbers are actually reduced 23s, 24s, 25s. These 10-year cycles have a line separating them in the chart. Every 10 years, you jump to a new cycle of numbers, usually beginning one number higher than the previous cycle. Depending on your age, you may not experience the highest numbered major arcana cards in your lifetime. For instance, after January 1st, 1988, there was no more 1910 1 personalities born, although they have been relatively or although they had been relatively abundant previous to that, they will begin appearing again after 2069. So that's exactly what you found. And then what she says, missing and most repeated year cards. Look through your chart. Look through your chart to determine which cards and therefore lessons you will never experience. These are not necessary for you in this lifetime, representing qualities probably already well developed. So you're not going nuts. Maybe you were calculating my my year card when I was saying that, but yes. So she did talk about that because our number system is decimally based. There's a 10-year cycle that goes on there. So you might never experience some of these major arcana years, and that's only because you don't have to for this lifetime. If you believe in reincarnation, those lessons are not applicable to this lifetime of learning, basically. No, thank you. No, thank you. Yes, I have fancy Facebook Live widgets, which also apply to YouTube as well. This is my third-party app called Be Live, and I can't find the way to share it in the staging, so I'm just not gonna. But BeLive.tv. Like, I can do this. I can do snowfall, but I couldn't keep it up because it was kind of messing with the video. So super cute. Super, super cute. No, seriously, where's I don't know where the scroll is. They changed up my entire platform in here. So I'm like, my normal suaveness with this has gone by the wayside because I don't know what the hell I'm doing with this. Aha! Found it. Crawler. There we go. Finally. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you for bearing with me with my math problems and my tech problems, etc., etc. Okay, so today's weekend forecast is actually today's card of the day that I didn't get to post because, the day got away from me because astrologically things have been crazy, blah, 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 blah. Right? All right. So I've already pre-pulled this, and I don't have the pretty version to display, but I do have at least a version. So that looks awful, but this is our weekend forecast. Yes, I know. I knew it. You're trying to find the star card. That's why I went ahead with the years. Yeah, does that mean I don't have a star card in my future? I hope someday. So the weekend forecast is coming to you from, again, the Scorpio Sea Tarot by Maggie Stiefvater with the text in the companion book by Melissa Sonova, my wonderful co-host on the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast, along with Jamie Olford as well. So we have the 8 of Coins, but it came up reversed. So I will read from the companion book, especially because the companion book is so delicious, and then I will give my own interpretation. I'm going to move my stuff over here. And unfortunately, I did see some spamminess happening in the comments, in the chat. So I apologize for that. If someone's trying to contact you about a reading, or contact me or DM me for a reading, like, can you just go ahead and report them for being spammy and block them? And I'll do the same after I'm done teaching, basically, because I don't have time for that shit. It's really kind of disgusting, but at least there wasn't like 50 million of them this time, right? So 8 of coins reversed. Keywords are ineffectual, confusion, and flailing. If you half-ass the roofing, only you can be blamed when the rains find their way into your home. Taking shortcuts and keeping busy instead of productive is your fault and your fault alone. It is okay to feel insecure. It's okay to be unpracticed and inexperienced. It is not okay to have these feelings and move forward, screwing up your work and setting yourself up for failure. Wait a beat, learn what you need to learn, and then apply yourself. Don't bother doing something unless you're willing to do it right. I'm not sure if it's today's forecast or if it's the weekend forecast, but this feels really, really, really freaking applicable to today and the kind of stuff that was being thrown at me. Especially the whole half-assing something, don't take shortcuts, keeping like that busy, playing busy work instead of being actually productive, or being busy but doing the wrong things. Like, whoo, you are speaking my language, Shero. Thank you very much. But I think it's applicable for it being the card of the day today, but we just need to keep this in mind for the weekend, where it's just like, don't do the busy work. Don't put duct tape on your car's tire and expect yourself to not get a flat. Like, don't half-ass it, because in half-assing it, especially with this card's depiction, I feel like half-assing something only makes it worse. Like, if you had thought things through, or if you had done the project right the first time, anything that you do to kind of shortcut or bootstrap or put a Band-Aid on it, I think it's going to make it worse. It's not going to even help. It might, in doing the short-term solution, it might make it worse. So So what do you think about that card? I feel like it's really applicable for today, and hopefully that energy will dissipate a little bit into the weekend, as long as we heed the message of that card. Thank you. I appreciate it. I reported that one earlier. Spam just as soon as they appear. I know, they're like mushrooms after a rainstorm. They just keep popping up. All right, well, this was another marathon-long workshop, and I appreciate everyone sticking with me. And if you are a long-time viewer or listener, thank you so much for watching. And I'm going to go ahead and put up this crawler. I'm gonna get the hang of it. I am going to get the hang of it. Stop it. Come on, come on, come on. Wonderful, cool. Weekend forecast, heeding that, what seems applicable, heeding that warning. And Lucy says applicable to, yay, applicable to me. Awesome, great. So let's heed that warning before it becomes the roof leaking and raining in your house, and you gotta call the repairman, and call the roofer, and call the contractor, right? However that applies to you. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Thanks for sticking with me for birth cards and year cards. I hope this information was helpful to you. And where is my stars? Did I not? I didn't even put up my stars today. It's very sad. Very sad. Let me fix that. Okay. So that's it for this week's episode. Keep in mind, next week, Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we do this thing every week. And I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So the upcoming episode for Friday, the 29th, is using tarot cards. Let me move my widget. Where's my widget? I can't even move my widget now. What's going on? Is using tarot cards for affirmation. So that is the topic I will be teaching next week, Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I appreciate all of you watching and tuning in. If you would like a reading with me, I'm available right here, tarotbyhilary.com. Katie says, thank you. It was excellent. Have a good weekend, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, Katie. So once again, I am Hilary, professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friend, do not argue with me. You have intuition. Have a wonderful night and have a great weekend. And I'll see you right back here on Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.